Hello again, I'm Tom Anglin. Thanks for joining me for this fourth episode of Refocus Fridays. Today's subject is be astonishing. You be astonishing. You can be astonishing. I'll explain in just a moment. I want to read to you a little quote from Hudson Taylor, the founder of China Inland Mission, who started a great missions movement. It says, many Christians estimate difficulties in the light of their own resources and thus attempt little and often fail in even the little they attempt. All God's giants have been weak men who did great things for God because they reckoned on His power and presence with them. Wow. So weak men doing great things because they leaned hard on Almighty God. And so was the case with a man by the name of Shema. We find him in 2 Samuel 23 and 11, and it says, and after him was Shema the son of Agi the Hararite. The Philistines had gathered together into a troop, and there was a piece of ground full of lentils, or we might refer to it as a hill of beans or just a pea patch. So the people, being the Israelite warriors, fled from the Philistines. But he stationed himself in the middle of the field and defended it and killed the Philistines. So the Lord brought about a great victory. Wow. One man stood his ground, stood for something the rest were not willing to stand for, stood alone, and yet he was not alone because the mighty warrior, Jesus Christ, was there with him in that field. I think for him it was just the principle of the thing. He was not willing to give up even a little thing. Shema's name means astonishment. He was one of God's fearless warriors, and he was just a type of Christian that refuses to let the enemy get by with anything or even have a little something. He's a role model for any of us today that would dare to take a stand for God. Shema would have rather died than to allow those uncircumcised Philistines, as David called them, to have even a little patch of peas. Wow. Today there are more worthy causes, far more worthy causes than a patch of lentils. Things like abortion, abolishing abortion, which church people of God, we don't need to rest until this thing is over and it is no longer allowable to abort the life of an innocent child. To stop human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, the slave trade, pornography, oppression of the poor, domestic violence, child abuse. The list goes on and on and on. We need to find a patch of lentils to stand our ground in for God. We need to get a burden for something and make it our life's work to see the glory of God manifest in a powerful way. God brought about a great victory because Shema was willing to make a stand, and the Lord did not let him stand alone. I'm telling you, friend, He won't allow you or I or any of the rest of us to stand alone when we stand for God. He will bring about mighty victories time and time again. And what He will use for His own glory is the person whose life belongs to Him, the person whose life is entirely surrendered to Him. Are you living proof of the existence of Almighty God in this world? It's time that we make a stand for something, because if we don't, we fall for anything. Lest you and I be an exception to what seems to be the rule in our day of casual Christianity. Let's endeavor not to be casual, but to be passionate for the cause of Christ, for the will of God, to the glory of God. God bless you. Thank you for being with me again today. Look forward to sharing with you again next Friday. Hope this helps. Have an awesome weekend.